With all of this negative news about a potential recession looming and layoffs and, stock market and all these things, interest rates going up and things of this nature, I know that there are people out there who have lost their jobs. I mean, unemployment numbers, we have seen it go up, and we have seen the home values in some areas depreciate, go down. And so the question becomes like, okay, well, is this going to be a crash, or is it going to be like, 2008? And all the experts are saying, don't expect a bust. One of the big reasons behind that is the amount of home equity that we're seeing on average. So the average homeowner has something like $300,000 in equity in their house. And why that's meaningful is because going back to the last crash, there was a glut of supply. Home prices, just like anything else, are determined by supply and demand. When you have a large supply and nobody wanted to buy them, then you have to cut your price in order to get someone to buy. And what was happening was the lenders were taking back homes in foreclosure, and buyers were just kind of walking away from them and letting the homes be foreclosed because they tended to owe more on them than they were worth. They had low or negative equity in a lot of situations. And that had to do with like loose lending practices and like a bunch of standards that existed back then that don't exist today. The situation that we find ourselves in today is even heading into a potential recessionary period. What we're seeing is record levels of equity. So if I do lose my job and I have $300,000 in equity in the home, it's really unlikely that I'm just going to toss the keys to the bank apathetically and say, okay, well, I can't afford the home, so you can have it back, when I could sell it and try to get as much of that $300,000 in my pocket rather than let the bank do their thing. Even as layoffs occur, if people can no longer afford their homes, typically not everyone's going to be laid off and selling their home all at once. I mean, these things tend to happen at various points in time. And so if something like that were to occur, it would be a slow drip of properties onto the market rather than a flood of supply that completely kicks the supply demand totally out of balance. And another thing to that point is, if you look at this chart here, you can see that there is the overall percentage of homeowners that is at risk for foreclosure has been decreasing a ton. Another factor that we have, working in our favor today is that the government and our industry in general realize that just letting the lenders go crazy and foreclose on everybody and letting the invisible hand of the marketplace do its damage, it did a lot of damage. And I think looking back, people realize that wow, just letting the market melt down on its own probably wasn't the best idea. And the proof of that is when the pandemic hit and they did the lockdown. One of the first few things they did after the lockdown was they said no foreclosures, because they didn't want a glut of supply onto the market and create a supply-demand imbalance that destroyed the market. So what they did is they put a foreclosure moratorium. The government required lenders in certain cases to do forbearance programs, which is basically working out a deal, loan modification, exactly what it sounds like, modifying the terms of the loan. They're trying to keep people in their homes, and they're trying to work out deals where, okay, you lost your job today, when you find a new job, start paying us back, or something to that effect. If you're facing this today, it can be a very scary thing to not be able to, make your mortgage payment. Now, there are options at your disposal. Talk to your lender, talk to your local real estate professional, see if forbearance or loan modification or selling the home to get your equity out of it is going to be the best route for you. I know that these can be scary times, losing a job, not being able to make your mortgage payment. We are here to help. If you're going through this, reach out to us and we can point you in the right direction as to what resources would be available for you to try to keep you in the home if that makes the most sense for you, or if not, get the home sold in a fashion that maximizes your bottom line. And what we're seeing, again, is huge numbers of equity, very low percentage of people, so we don't expect a bust to happen, but we do know that some people do unfortunately find themselves in these situations. We are here to help. Get with your lender, your real estate people, and find out what resources are available to you if you are in this situation so that you can make the best decision for you.